Hello, my friends. How are you guys doing? Thank you for joining me for this live stream tonight. This is your fearless leader. This is me. I'm just checking the focus as I'm doing this, but thanks for joining me, guys. Wanted to hop on real quick. I like to do a live stream with you guys every Wednesday if I possibly can, and so today's Wednesday. I think today's Wednesday, right? The last time we did this, I was in Washington D.C. and right before the inauguration is the last live stream that we did. So first off, hello Lex and Ripe and Andre and Michael and all you guys. Thanks. Fix your hat again. This hat, just little bit of FYI. Every time I go into a hat store or people say that's a trilby, that's not a fedora, and I'm like, whatever. So apparently, if it goes up, it's technically a fedora, but if it goes down, it's a trilby. So anyway, that's the FYI on that. That's the information. But anyways, guys, just wanted to talk to you guys real quick about the A1 KGB here again. What's up, KGB? Our little Russian operative. But Sony A1 looks like a really cool camera. Like I was saying earlier, it really is a camera that is the first one that's excited me for a while with Sony. A lot of people ask me why I never did the A7R4, and I didn't do the R4 simply because we went out and shot with it, and the R4 doesn't focus very well, at least according to my standards that I have with other Sony cameras. That's why I never went to the R4. I also went that the R4. I also said that I also felt with the R4 it was overkill. It was much too much from a megapixel standpoint, and it was kind of a flex by Sony to say, look what we can do. And unless you are getting into medium format or you're a high-end architectural landscape photographer, there really wasn't much of a purpose for it. My honest assessment is that Sony has struggled to sell cameras, and I know that that the whole industry is down with camera sales over the past couple of years. They've struggled to sell cameras at the pace that they were selling them at before. They hit a market saturation point. As I tip my hat, I feel like Wyatt Earp, and I'm going to stop messing with it anyway. And then what they did was came out with the A9 II, which they rushed for the Olympics in Tokyo, which nobody was excited about the A9 II because honestly, the A9 II was for the most part just like a little pumped up version of the A9. It really wasn't that exciting. Then they came out with some crop sensor cameras. Again, nothing really exciting. The A1 is exciting. And the reason the A1 is exciting is for a number of myriad of reasons. 8K output with the video. I mean, 30 frames per second, 50 megapixels. I still think 50 megapixels is a lot. If you guys have shot like the A7R3 or something like that, the A7R3 at 42 megapixels, I think the 30 and 40 megapixel range for most photographers is the sweetest spot. 50 is good. It's not crazy 60s and 70s and 80s. It's not crazy like that, but it's still a lot, guys. I mean, even now with all of the camera options that I have to utilize, I typically find myself shooting. If you've watched my pictures that I've been posting over the last 6 to 12 months, the vast majority of it, I'm doing it with 24 megapixel cameras from a A9 to the A7 III. And I've been shooting a lot with the A6500 recently because I've been using that new Tamron 17 to 70 lens. So all of that being said, when they come out with the 50 megapixel camera, I think that that's really cool. I think what Sony wanted to do was make the most badass overall camera in the world. And I think in many ways they did that. With the price tag of $6,500, that's going to make a lot of people choke on their cereal because $6,500. The funny thing about that is when I got into the industry 13 years ago, $6,500 for a camera. The vast majority of DSLR cameras at that point, high-end DSLR cameras, were around $5,000. But the and Canon, even at the time, they had a monster 16 megapixel camera. I don't even know the model number, but they had a monster 60 megapixel camera about 13, 14 years ago, and it was $6,500. So it tells you where we've come in that the price of technology has dramatically been reduced while the technology has dramatically increased. But $6,500 is going to price out the vast majority of the people who buy Sony cameras. And I'm just being honest with people. What the mirrorless market did is it allowed a lot of folks out there who are not full-time photographers to play in the full-time photography field. In other words, you could get in with a camera body like the A7 III or any of them that are in that $2,000-$3,000 range, and you can get into the market and you're shooting a full-frame camera and getting great shots. The A60, the A1 is kind of an it's an FU like to hobbyists. You have to be really serious about photography if you're going to shoot with an A1. And then of course, when you add on lenses and everything else, and if you're, I think the A1 has some incredible specs. Okay, it does. It has some incredible specs. I mean, absolutely outrageous specs. And I'm going to tell you what excites me the most here, and I'll probably do a video on it. But I'm not like these other guys rushing out to do a video just to get views. I'm past that point. I'm not about trying to make commercials for people. I'm about doing what I originally wanted to do with YouTube, which is showing my work. That's it. But I will talk about the gear. So anyway, so what excites me the most about the A1 is the fact that it has the electronic shutter that can fire flash. Now, guys, I'll take credit for this. I started this mirrorless way for the most part, and I'll take credit for the fact that I've been telling people out there that mirrorless was the way and LEDs were the way. Now, if you look at the way that what's its face, Sony is going with this, is going with the electronic shutter. The electronic shutter is huge. So when people hear, oh, it does electronic shutter, the thing is, like, for example, the A9, it does a mechanical shutter at 5 frames a second, and the electronic shutter is 20, but you can't fire flash. So unless you're doing just natural light sports or wildlife, the 20 frames per second, while I do love it, the 20 frames per second is not that useful for any type of portraiture photography. Well, fast forward, one of the big problems with mirrorless cameras and Sony is you'll get distortion or flicker effects if you're shooting LED lighting. And you guys know I'm the king of LED lighting. So that's something that's always in the forefront of my mind. So what Sony did that's most exciting for me with the A1 is the fact that they have now given you the ability to shoot with the electronic shutter in flash mode. And that's key. Now, granted, it's only up to 200ths of a second, I think it is, with the A1 if you're actually firing flash. 400ths of a second or electronic shutter, it's one of the two. I'm not a tech geek. But the bottom line is that's exciting because that tells you what's going to happen down in the future. And anytime they introduce a new piece of technology like that, it tells you what the future holds. The other thing that they did is they really went after the anti-flickering effect that they're getting from LED lighting. So it's not like I'm saying they made this camera for Rhodolite, but they're thinking along those lines of how LED technology is going to play in the mirrorless market and in the camera market in the years coming forward. That to me is very exciting. And I think that that's what we're going to see. And of course, the other thing that's really exciting about the electronic shutter is the fact that you have so much less wear and tear on the shutter on your camera. Now, I know that they say it's made out of carbon fiber, mechanical blades and everything for the mechanical shutter, and that it can do up to 500,000 actuations, which is great. The problem is if you're firing at 30 frames a second, or even really fast on this puppy, you're going to burn through that fast. How is LED lighting going to affect the mirrorless market? Oh, because traditional lights can't keep up with fast frames per second. That's exactly why. Because traditional strobes can't keep up with 20, 30 frames a second. So anything that is a traditional bulb can't, the recycle time, it just can't do it. LEDs can, and that's why you're going to continue to see this being paired together. And so, yeah, exactly. LED pulses and needs a technology that'll match it. So, So, you know, is it everything that everybody wants? No. I mean, there are things about the camera that people don't like. The fact that it's got 8K and all this great stuff that is fantastic for video purposes. The only problem is that you're getting, you know, a lot of for the most part, you're having to do external recording on it, which concerns some people because when you're external recording, it means that you have to, you know, you're going to plug it into an HDMI cable. If anything goes wrong with the transmission, anything goes wrong with the cable comes loose, whatever it may be, you could have issues with, your video recording on that. But I mean, there are some really insane things about the camera. I'm excited to get my hands on it and play with it. And I haven't even tried to get my hands on a Sony camera for quite a while because honestly, they didn't excite me, guys. They didn't excite me. It's why I've been playing with some with the Canon cameras and some with the other cameras. And it's been a lot of fun. So you need flash, but LED as more looms. LED lighting will dominate all areas. Housing, stadium, LED will replace all lights, just not photography lights. Exactly. And that's why I'm saying LED lighting is really going to be the way to go. And even if you're dealing with a situation where it can't keep up with the flash sync speed, that's another area where Sony is working on the anti-flicker technology with LED lighting. That's going to give you the ability to really capitalize on those 30 frames per second. So I know a lot of people are talking about all this other stuff. 50 megapixels, yeah, that's cool. I would be okay if it had 36. I really would. I really think that when people start to really understand how LEDs and mirrorless can work in concert without it being an issue, I think that that's going to be key because honestly, traditional DSLRs and stuff, they just can't fire that fast. So if you're looking at, whatever DSLRs, the mechanical shutters just cannot keep up for some of the things that you may want to do. So, in my mind, I think of all the incredible things that I could do with a electronic shutter that can actually strobe. So I can use my Rhodolites and I can actually strobe it without any recycle time, which the applications for that are insane. And then the second thing is I'm able to use the anti-flicker, which I'm very eager to test it, use the anti-flicker with Sony, which is supposed to be better than the previous iterations of cameras, which will give me the ability to, get a lot more shots without distortion in the background. So at any rate, guys, that's kind of my take on that. I think the A9 II is a waste. I think they barely sold any of those. If you want to know the truth, they knew. See, here's the thing with the Sony full frame marketplace. The A7R4, it was overkill. I don't think it sold very well. The A9 II, it was a waste. And in fact, when they came out with the A7 III, which sold like gangbusters, that crushed the A9 because the A7 III is a mini-me version of the A9, and they knew it was going to cannibalize their A9 market. So I don't think Sony, especially given the fact that, they just came out with an A9 II, they couldn't come out with an A9 III. So people are saying, hey, why isn't it A1? Because they didn't want to look stupid. So they named it after a steak sauce, and and then they created a brand new camera. I think it's a badass camera. I think it's a camera that's meant to, put their flag on the moon and say, we are the biggest and baddest in the world. But I don't think A9 II were supplied to all AP staffers around the world. Yeah, that's great. Yeah, that's great. But it's probably, mostly subsidized by Sony. I don't think that the A9 II was a really good camera. Let me restate that. It's a good camera. The A9 is a great camera, but it wasn't that much better than the A9. That's what I'm trying to get at. And that's the main problem that they had. So, Sony is delving into the steak sauce company. I think that is fantastic. The next Sony that we need is like a Sony Heinz or I don't know, something like that. It's pretty funny. Why can't they separate still cameras from ones with video capability? Still shooters don't want to pay for 8K, but could still use everything else. Yeah, I agree with you. And I think the problem with this camera is if you look at the specs on this camera, $6,500, yeah, that is justifiable for everything that camera does. But to be honest with you, this camera is a dream for someone like me. Why? I do everything. I film and I shoot stills and I shoot wildlife and I shoot portraits and I do a lot of filming for YouTube and other purposes and documentaries. And 8K footage is fantastic because something a lot of folks don't really think about is, guys, when you're watching my videos and I'm showing you clips, a lot of the times I'm filming in 4K, but I'm cropping in post. And I can't do that without it looking like crap with a 1080p video capture. So a lot of the times when I'm filming in 4K, I'm cropping in. Well, being able to do that twice in 8K is fantastic. The only problem for me, to be honest with you, is it's not going to give me, I'm not the kind of guy who typically takes external recorders with me. I'm typically running and gunning somewhere. And so I just put the camera on a tripod or put it somewhere. So I'm not sure how much I would use the 8K for normal daily applications. But flux capacitors. That's pretty funny. But but no, just as always, guys, the tech does trickle down. I will get my hands on one. It'll be a lot of fun to utilize. Do I think the A7 IV is coming later this year? I do. I think if you look at what's happening with Sony, Sony has been the hot girl or the hot guy. Let's be fair to all sexes here. So it's been the hot dude or the hot chick, and then they aren't getting as much attention anymore. Their Tinder account has kind of dried up. And so I think that they're trying to really Sony Sriracha. I think that Sony Chipotle. I think that they are real. I think that they're really trying to get people's attention again. And the A1 does that. The only problem is that, again, the A1 is going to be for a very it's going to be for a much smaller marketplace. Do you think Sony released the A1 to beat Canon 1DX3, and why all try to compare it to the R5? It's not in the same price. Yeah, I think that's a fair statement right there, Shadi. I don't think it's fair to compare this to the R5 because there's such a huge difference in price. You can't compare something that is so much significantly more expensive than one camera and say, oh, well, the R5 doesn't do that. Well, the R5 isn't $6,500. So, it's like when you look at cars or anything else in the world, you got to compare apples to apples. So, wish Sony had a flip screen to all the cameras. Yeah, I am so tired of Sony not adding flip screens. To me, it's stubbornness. It's rude. It's not listening to their constituents, which are all of us. And I don't understand why they do it. I really don't. I don't understand why they don't add a freaking flip screen that comes around, especially for filming. It's ridiculous. Now, you may say, well, not all of us are trying to record YouTube videos and they don't need to look at themselves while they're filming. It's not just for looking at yourself. The screens that flip out to the side and pop up and film on the side give you the ability as a filmmaker, tremendous capabilities. You guys know I've been really getting into my documentary work again, and being able to put that down on the ground. I love filming close to the ground. It's a real gritty, real raw, texture filled kind of a look. And the fact that they don't add that to all their cameras is, to me, stupid. There should be things like, hey, IBIS is standard on all of our cameras, in-body image stabilization, and, blah, 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 all the things that we come to expect. It's like buying a car these days that doesn't have, automatic windows. Nobody would buy it. And I think that they should make it part and parcel with all of their cameras. So I see in the comments, you guys are saying, well, this camera has it, this one doesn't. The point I'm making is it should be standard. And why would the A99 II have it, but the A1 doesn't have it, and the A1 is more expensive? And the A99 II are just, at this point, they're just paperweights. I don't know anyone in the world who were going to buy one. And what you will see happen relatively soon is the A99 II is going to take a price drop. It's going to hit, boom, it's going to hit the bottom of the ocean. You can't believe they're still using 1.4 million. Yeah. Even if it doesn't flip at that price, the screen would be better. Yeah, I agree. And I think if anything, come to Canon, we got flip screens. I do love Canon cameras. I mean, I'm still a Sony guy, but I do love Canon cameras. Other live shows have a donation button. Yeah, I know. I still have a hard time doing that to you guys. I have a hard time being in the middle of a video and saying, hey, if you like this video, give me a thumbs up. It feels so cheap. It's hard for me to do that with you guys. So I just appreciate you being here. It's so hard for me to do all that stupid, dumbass crap. Anyway, But I keep my Canon R4 just for that screen. Yeah, exactly. So, as somebody who has gotten more interest in street photography, the only camera that has excited me is A7C. Yeah, I get it. And that's what I'm saying. Why does my background turn dark when I turn on my flash and take a shot? Because it cancels out your electronic viewfinder. So it turns it pretty much into an optical viewfinder. So the only way to get around that is turn off your flash, set your composition, turn your flash back on, and then fire. But yeah, I mean, I think what they need to do more than anything is just have some things that are standards. Hey, if you buy a Sony camera, this is what you get. Period. End of story. The fact that the A99 II has a flip screen, but the A1 doesn't, the steak sauce doesn't have it, but the little Heinz ketchup. Because now, if the A1 is the steak sauce, then like the A99 II is like mustard or relish or something cheap. I think that's what we should do. We should give all of the Sony cameras a condiment that they I think that's what we should do. I think it'd be really good. So you're still stuck on well, I'm just real with you guys. Everybody's like, oh, this is the most mega camera in the world. Guys, it's a camera. And unless you have very specific applications for said cameras, these cameras are not going to, I want to impart advice that actually helps people out there, because the honest truth is, here's the honest truth. 90% of you don't need steak sauce. That's just the truth. 90% of you don't need steak sauce. I should make a video and have it pop up every time I refer to a camera. It pops up with a condiment. But you guys don't need the steak sauce. You really need, and I don't even need the steak sauce. The steak sauce for me is nice. I don't need it. Nobody needs a camera of certain specs. And I think that, what's up, Artanian? I'm going to see you in a couple days. But A6400 is the barbecue sauce. I don't know. I'm still loving my A6500. I think that's sweet pickle relish. I don't like dill, but yeah, I like the sweet. It has 8K internal recording, no monitors. Well, thank you, Charles Nagel, for letting me know. Again, if that's the case, that's fantastic. Thank you for the 20 exclamation points. It's very appreciated. But Dean Clark, you said it's not funny that I call it steak sauce. Well, thank you. Thank you for being here. I'll just leave it at that. The camera's for high-end shooters. Exactly. That's exactly what it's meant for, my friends. And so, if you're watching this, here's the bottom line. If you're watching this and you're a Sony shooter and you're like, oh my gosh, somebody posted on my Jason Linder Workshops University. It was really funny. They're like, hey, all the Sony photographers are going to be out there doing OnlyFans sites to try to raise $6,500, which I thought was very funny. The fact of the matter is, it doesn't really need a lot of this stuff, guys. And you guys really don't need a lot of this stuff. And I don't need a lot of this stuff. It really is for someone who wants to have the camera that, quote unquote, as of January 2021, does everything. That's what this camera is for. And it is a big flex. It's a big flex in the photography world to say, hey, look what our flagship camera can do and yours can't. But just like always, and I don't say this to be rude, guys. I say this to be honest. I think that it's clear that there's really two heavyweights now, and they're Canon and Sony. And I've been saying that for a long time. A Nikon is, and I say this, I even hesitate to say it because it hurts my heart because, again, my roots are Nikon. But Nikon is, it's a way of, it's just not competing any longer. But Canon is coming for it. And I think that it is a camera measuring contest. Is A-mount dead? Yes. A-mount is dead. It's beyond dead. It couldn't even be resurrected if we had supernatural people walking the earth. A-mount is dead. Sony doesn't care about it. They haven't cared about it for years. They released the A99 II, and they haven't cared about it for even before that. That was kind of a, hey, here's a last little tribute to you guys. So God still. Yeah, A-mount said a long time ago. I'm happy A7R3 2 bodies. Yeah. If you guys want the best camera out there, still for if you're looking for a full frame and you see the A1 steak sauce come out and you're looking for a full frame, the R3 is still the best bet. It's still the best bet for the vast majority of you guys. Most of you are not working NFL sidelines. You don't need to wirelessly transfer images via FTP to a press service. You just don't. You don't need to record 8K video, internal or external. You just don't need it. I don't really need it. I think that it's going to be very cool to be able to utilize. And again, what is most exciting about this is the fact that we can see what's coming down the pipe. You can't spend your money on the A1. Jason, have me spend money on Rhodolite stuff now. Insufficient funds. Thanks, Jason. You are so welcome. How long before the electronic flash shutter filters down the Sony line? It'll come. It'll come. I think that you're going to, again, the A7, what they've done is the A1 is really appealing to the high-end shooters, and what they're going to do with the A7 IV is they're going to make a dumbed-down version of the A1 for the A7 IV, so they can get more people like you and me and the average photographer out there to be to have some of this tech in it without the humongous price tag. And I do think it's pretty funny to come out with the most expensive camera that's been released in probably a decade. I'm not talking about Hasselblad. I'm not talking about Leica. I'm talking about Canon, Nikon, Sony. All right, Fuji, whatever. They come out with the most expensive camera in a decade during a worldwide pandemic where the economy is garbage. That's pretty funny to me. The irony in that's pretty funny. If you're wanting a small compact camera, yeah, the R3 to me is still the business. It's great. Jason might not ask, but folks, there are 208 people watching and only 39 thumbs up. Hit the thumbs up, people. It's free and it's the right thing to do. Thank you, Lee Talks. You have the R3. The R3 is fantastic. If you are wanting a small compact camera similar to a Ricoh GR3, what other brands would you check out for using for just a cell phone? Oh, I don't know. I don't mess with those cameras. Honestly, the honest truth is, to me, this right here is more useful, more beneficial than the vast majority of small compact cameras. That's another market that's going in the trash. The R3 is amazing. I don't need the A1, but I still want one. Yep. And you won't need one. And the fact of the matter is, I'm telling you, the fact of the matter is, I've spent time with Sony engineers. I've spent time at Sony headquarters in America and in Japan. They're great people. I'm just telling you, the specs, you will not notice that much of a difference off of what you currently do. If you're shooting portraiture, you're not going to notice an incredible difference between the A1 and the R3. You're not. You're just not. The one thing that, again, that I'll go back to that's going to be the biggest benefit to folks out there is going to be the electronic shutter. And that's why I started off by saying that's what excites me about it. But other than that, you see a lot of people selling their R4s. Well, I don't blame them for that. That's why I never even touched the R4. Sony sent me one. I played with it for, seriously, and guys, nobody knows Sony cameras like me. I played with the R4 for 45 minutes, and then I recorded a video on it. And then I'm like, no. The focus was off. I just was not having it. Just needs to subsidize the development of the tech first. Once they make their money from it, they'll pass it down to others. Exactly. Talk about a record a frame from 8K, good resolution. You mean like to take a still from the video? I could see that if you had a tripod shot, I would do that, but I would not do that for normal, just like filming and stuff, because your composition is typically not off. Would it be a good resolution? I probably would, but you'd have to make sure that it was still, because keep in mind, the vast majority of the time that you're filming, you're doing it 1/50th of a second. So if you try to take a still from that, there's a good chance that it could actually be not as crisp as you would want with the still. A1 is 8,500 plus tax in Canada. Insane. Yeah. No lenses, no nothing. So, sucks to be a Canadian when it comes to prices. Sucks to be Australian when it comes to prices. It sucks. It sucks for you guys. You bought a Sony A6000 because of my review and it still rocks? Absolutely. Absolutely. But I can't afford electronic shutter, and you don't need to. I'm telling you guys that the fact of the matter is, as much as everybody's going crazy about steak sauce, you don't need it. Nobody needs it. I don't need it. If using electronic shutter, will it count in the 5,000K lifetime actuations? It should be yes. It's just only it's only for the mechanical shutter. I know you're talking about the new Sony, but can I ask your opinion about color grading to add mood to your images? Well, sure. I mean, I color grade all my images. Usually, I use more of a matte finish. Tip of the hat to you, my love. But no, if you want to know more about how I edit, guys, go to my Patreon channel. You watch me edit live. Patreon.com/JasonLeonard Photography. In fact, we're doing our sessions tomorrow. A73. Yeah, it's a good camera. Jason, this is Gerald. Gerald's a good guy. Gerald, some R4s had misaligned sensor, which Sony had to correct to fix the focus issues. Yeah, perfect. That makes total sense. But, you know, guys, I tell you the truth when I have problems with other cameras and why I switched to Sony and why I use Sony. So when Sony has problems, I'm going to tell you those problems too. That's why I didn't touch it. You might also want the Sony Xperia Pro cell phone for $2,500. That's a no. That's a no. Cell phones are already ridiculously expensive. I'm already have my issues with Apple as it is. I don't need a $2,500 cell phone. Gosh. Yeah, they come out with like, let's get the most money out of you guys as we possibly can during a pandemic. And I know they're prepping for the Olympics again. And Sony's not, it's going to look pretty bad if the Olympics get canceled again. So that'll be, it's going to be pretty interesting to see what happens. I bought my A6000 because of you. I don't work 9 to 5 and I own 2 full frame cameras. I watch all of your video. I need to get to one of your workshops. Thank you for all you do. Sorry about exclamations. Thank you, Charles. I love you, brother. Can you drive and buy it in America? Sure. Bailey Mood, it's all about, yeah. Mood is all about your talent with lighting. Sucks to be an American at that price too. It sucks to be anybody at that price because, you know, all of us talk about America, Canada, Australia, Britain with exchange rates, but usually wages, cost of living, everything are relative to the value of our money. So yes, you know, Canada pays more, but it's cheaper to live in Canada compared to America. And I know somebody's going to say, oh, what about Vancouver? And what about it? Guys, it's all relative. So it sucks. They're expensive. The point I'm making is it's expensive and it sucks no matter where you live. It just does. Do you have a schedule for your live shows? I do not because my life's kind of crazy, but no, I'll be doing these live shows as much as I can. I try to do them every Wednesday. That's the goal. Nice to see you again. Thank you. Should be a comedian. You make me cry tears. Thank you. Which lens mount will A1 use? This is the typical E mount. If you don't want more than 24 megapixels, would you recommend the A9? Oh, I love the A9. I love the A9. I love the A9. I loved it when it came out. I love the A7 III. And the best news for all of us out there when they come out with these monster steak sauce cameras that don't make sense for most people, the best news is all of our camera prices typically go down. So if you're a normal person like you, like me, and we don't have, you know, oodles and oodles of discretionary income, the fact that when these cameras come out, drops the prices for everything else, that's what I'm all about. Yeah, no Sony phones. No, I'm not into that either. The D850 does all I need. I'd rather spend my money on Rhodolites. I agree. Do it. Talk about the Tamron lens. I love the Tamron lens. If you guys have been following me, Ginger Snaps is fangirling. She messages me and fangirls on Instagram as well. All appropriate, of course. But no, I love the 17-70 Tamron. It's a great lens. And again, that's a lens that really fits a lot of people's pocketbooks, which during a pandemic is very, 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 very important. And that's the other thing, guys. Guys, truly, when you watch a lot of other YouTubers, and I've watched some of their videos, and some of them make me want to vomit, and they're screaming at you, and they're yelling, and everybody's just going on, and their voice is very excited about, oh, this is going to change the world. It will not change your world. I'm promising you, it will not. If you have a full frame camera body already, unless you're doing something very, very, very specific, like shooting the Olympics. But riddle me this, Batman. Do you really think that the A1 is going to get that many more shots than an A9 II? Probably not. Okay, because a lot of the time it comes down to the user as well. 20 frames a second is a lot. I went and shot an NFL game with the A9. I shot it at 20 frames a second. Now, is 30 frames a second more or better? Yes, it is. But give me a break. 20 frames a second is ridiculous. You should watch the reels I have of I would anticipate that the receiver was going to catch a ball or that a quarterback was going to get hit for a sack or whatever it may be, and I would just push on that 20 frames a second on the A9, and you're getting every single click. So unless you're one of those 1% of people, or not even that, less than 1% of people who does shoot the NFL or does shoot the Olympics, you don't need a steak sauce. You don't. What do you think of Sony trying to pair their phone with that camera? Is this the future? Oh, I think everybody's trying. I think all camera companies are trying to figure out how they're going to not become irrelevant with cell phones in the mix. I think that, I mean, Sony's been on that bandwagon for a while. Let's be real. I mean, Sony was one of the first ones to say, "Hey, let's enable you to fire with the camera." So it's one of the things I really loved about Sony. So, powered by ramen. 6,500 in UK, that relates to 8,800 USD. You could catch a flight to pick that camera up and it will be cheaper. Yes, you would. You'd have to lie on your customs. But yeah, that's actually not a bad idea. In fact, I do so much business over in, but see, here's the thing I keep saying, guys. Once you go over to Britain and you exchange your money, you exchange US dollars for pounds, it's the same thing. So you don't save any money. Sony could use this COVID time to update the wireless transferring to Mac. Yeah, no doubt. I find myself using Viewfinder and Canon R5 while I always use LCD for Sony cameras. What about you guys? I just use whatever works. Oh, Drop Teen Studios. Is that Austin? Frosty Osty's in the house. I don't make good money. What Sony camera should I buy? What do you already have, Clifton? I'd probably get an A6500 or an A7 III, to be honest with you. Yeah, and there's not much work for a lot of people during this stupid pandemic. Mr. Royce need to have something. All right. They need to upgrade their lenses. Oh my God, Jason, you're such an amazing talent photographer. Thank you. I hope so that you will come to Houston someday. I'd love to come to Houston. I'd love to see you. Wah. I hope I said your name right. I mean that in all respect. Were you able to catch Tyreek Hill? That's pretty funny. I didn't shoot him, but if I had, I would have caught him. No care. Yep. 10 frames of quality is more than 32 frames of slok. Yeah, that's true. I tried the A1 last day, shot it a bit with the shutter. And sound of the mechanical shutter really pissed me off. It's terrible and really silent. The 100 for oh, well, that's really cool, Ilko. That's fantastic. Great to see you again, Jason. Stay safe. You're welcome. How's your hip? Is the recovery going well? Yep, the recovery is going great. Today, just so you guys, since you asked, today is day 45 of me walking 10,000 or more steps, and I've already done today. You can't see, it's overexposed, but I've done 9,800, so I only have 200 steps to go, and today will be my 45th day. Hello, focus. Let's go. Today will be my 45th day of 10,000 or more steps per day, mother freakers. That's how I'm doing. So thank you for asking. My iPhone 12 Pro is pretty nice camera and shoots in RAW. Yep. I almost feel like 30 frames per second with 50 megapixels takes something away from the game of sports photography. How can you not get the shot? My grandma could get it. Yeah, that's true, but I'll tell you, having shot sports professionally, it's not easy because professional sports is about anticipation, and it's still about framing. When the outfielder is going for that catch and you want to catch him, reaching for the ball and making that leaping catch, you still have to frame that shot. So no, I do think that's really cool, but there's a lot to it. You can't buy that A1. You and your sons are putting on a turbo on that old car. Exactly. Dude, I don't want to buy the A1. To be honest with you guys, I'm having fun spending money on cars. Hells yeah. Tomorrow we're getting tint jobs done. Reading my name in its context next to each other makes me sound like I don't make any money. Well, you do make money, Frosty Osty. Frosty Osty takes pictures of animals. He does a good job. Do you think Sony colors are in any way worse than Canon colors? They're just different. I really do love Canon colors. But I do love Canon colors. And don't get me started on the Canon RF lenses. Those are ridiculous. They're amazing. If Sony really wanted to throw a bone for people out there, they would start cranking out some 1.2 lenses for us little mother freakers out here. A7300 is nice with good glass and lighting. Any camera is nice with good glass and lighting. Is Sony going to make its Xperia phones able to accept this? I don't know. I really could care less. And I'm not trying to be dismissive of your question. I'm not. But I could care less about these things, because no matter what these things ever do, and I know, even 5, 6, 7 years ago, Sony was making something that was a lens that went on the front of the camera, so you could actually start attaching lenses to your phone. But nothing is ever going to replace the physical optics of high-grade lenses on these things. So if you're serious about image quality, these things will never be a problem for high-end professional photographers. For hobbyists and people who just love photography, yeah, these are going to take a lot of your stuff away. Would the Venice colors on an A1 make it better than the Canon R5 colors? That's a very interesting question. It really depends on how it actually comes out. I know that previously those are only on the film cameras for Sony, but it'll be interesting to see what it does. Does the sauce have dual card slots? Asking for a friend. Yes, it does. Saludos desde Puerto Rico. How come you speak good Spanish, Jason? Thanks for your teachings. My dad was a Spanish teacher, and my dad was a missionary in Chile, and so he spoke Spanish in a fun way to us kids, but not really in an educational way, not trying to make us learn Spanish. I took Spanish for 4 years in high school, and then I got myself a Mexican mama. And so I dated a Mexican girl for 2 años. And so then I really started speaking Spanish with her and her mama. And then I went and I was a missionary in Korea. So that's how I learned Korean and did that for 2 years. Then when I came home, I got back into the hotel industry. And in the hotel, I was a court translator translating Korean for the owner of a hotel who was Korean, and I translated that case. And the funny thing is, I was supposed to translate Korean to English, and then there was a translator from English to Spanish because it was a labor dispute between the hotel owner and the housekeepers. And it ended up I translated from Korean to Spanish, which was really funny. And so then the hotel owner hired me to be a liaison between he and his workers, since they had so many problems with a language barrier. And I really served in that role to bridge that language barrier. And then after that, I was in hotels for 12 years, and worked my up the ranks. But then I use Spanish all the time in hotels. And so that's how I speak Spanish. Best 3 everyday camera or carry lenses for the A7 III. Also, congrats, Mr. 10K Steps. Thank you, my little Frank's another. He's a little fanboy. He and I send cute texts to each other on Instagram. Best 3 everyday carry lenses for the A7 III. Oof. It just depends on what you're shooting, my man. I mean, if you're shooting you have to tell me what you're shooting for that. Think about some exact moments where you need to get that exact moment, like baseball or golf. I think you need exact moments for any sport. The exact moment where a receiver drops the ball and it's the end of the game, or exact moment where a receiver catches a ball for a Hail Mary, the exact moment where somebody misses or makes a buzzer beater in basketball. There's exact moments in all of them. Will the live stream be up later on tonight? Yes, it will. The auto white balance on your camera goes a little crazy when you hold your phone up. Your face goes all orange. Oh, it's because I'm going to run for president. Just joking. Favorite binge show, worthy show you'd recommend? I just was watching Hellstrom on Hulu, and it's a great show. The problem is I found out, thanks to Disney being the Nazis they are, Disney bought Marvel, and we all know that that's old news. But then they canceled all the shows. That's old news. But I didn't realize that Hellstrom was a Marvel show. And so I got through one season, realized it was over, and I wanted to kill Disney. metaphorically, because last thing I need is anyone to report this as abusive because I said KILL. Who becomes? Thanks for being a voice of reason, Jason. If you don't know if you need the A1, then you don't need it. Bingo. Ooh. Yeah, if you that I love that. If you don't look at that A1 and say, "Oh my gosh, this is the camera I've been waiting for," you don't need it. Who becomes a more successful photographer in today's world? The person who makes better images or the person who can market himself better on social media? Basically, what works? IQ versus marketing. It honestly takes both, but as is the case with our beloved Kardashians, we've learned that talent is not required to make oodles and oodles of money, because there's always suckers who like to watch morons make fools of themselves on cameras. And yes, we do have some of that in the photography world as well. People pretending to be, hip hop superstars and so on and so forth. But whatever works for them, it doesn't affect me. Do you think the small Sony is worth $1,400? No. Hi, Jason. Does the Sony A7R III work with all Rhodolites? Yes. JM Thane says, sup all. What's up? Hey, Jason, what are the advantages of the Neo 2 compared to something like the Godox 8200? Trying to buy my first light. Thanks. Advantages, and A, color balance. You can set your white balance. B, it gives you the options to do both flash and continuous lighting. The Godox 8200 is more powerful in a strobe perspective than the Neo 2, but all the Godox products overheat. If you pop them a lot, meaning you fire them a lot, they will overheat and the batteries will fail. I have 3 Godox 8200 Pros. I have a 8600 Pro and an 8400 Pro. So I'm not bad mouthing Godox. I think they're great strobes for the price compared to ripoffs like Profoto. But since you asked, I would totally go Rhodolite unless you need something that's a huge amount of light. 2024, baby. That's right, Rick. Hola, Jason. Buenas noches. Do the Pendleton. That's the Pendleton. Danny did this sexy. He took off. Okay, I'm not gonna. Okay, I'll stop. All right. Wow, a missionary. What faith? I don't talk about any of that because you guys wonder why I don't talk about personal stuff. It's because there are people on this planet who have made it their mission to make my life miserable. So I share as little personal information as possible. Occasionally, something will slip out like that. And I'm not trying to be evasive or anything else. I've just learned that sometimes not sharing details of my personal life means I actually get to live a somewhat normal life, because there are some real morons, cretins, and horrible people out there. So for that reason, I will respectfully not answer that, because, people are awful. And that's unfortunate, but people are awful people. There are some really awful, awful human beings in this world. What camera are you using for this live stream? This is the A9. Hi, Jason. Love your work. What would you recommend for a new photography to focus on mastering first? For a new photographer to focus on mastering. Great question. First thing you got to do is learn your exposure. You have to learn your exposure. You have to really understand your exposure, how to set your exposure in natural lighting conditions, and then it'll give you it'll give you such a foundation for you to be able to learn artificial lighting and continuous lighting and strobe and everything else. So definitely do that first. Watching you guide the inexperienced model through the range shoot was amazing to watch. I hope other photographers took notice and learned from that. Thank you. Yeah, and for folks who don't know what he's referring to, I did a live stream, a live range shoot, and the recording of it is here on YouTube. But that was her first professional shoot. She had never done anything professional outside of that. And so I had to guide her. And so when people talk about when you guys are looking at your camera or your options for working with people, you are the ones who have to decide the direction. You are the director of the shoot. The number one feedback I get from models when I work with them is like, oh my gosh, you direct me so much. You make it so easy. You blah, blah, blah. You don't just say, hey, do your thing. Guys, I understand if you don't know how to pose, come to one of my workshops. I will teach you better than anybody, and I will teach you an actual system on how to do it. But B, if you don't have the opportunity to do that just yet, that's totally fine. You need to work on your communication skills and your posing skills, and you will see a good pose when you, even if you accidentally walk into it, but you have to be walking into it to try and find it. But just remember separation. Just remember you need to create triangles with your posing. That makes a huge difference. And so models will love you and respect you and want to work with you again and again and again if you can direct them. If I ever get married, I will ask for you. I live in Virginia. You call me up, baby boy. I will be there. But you know, I was just gonna say something that was pretty funny. But absolutely, I would love to do that. Do you think I should get the A7 III right now? Yeah, it probably won't drop. That one probably won't drop in price too much. Wait until they announce the A7R4 or A7 IV, and then buy the A7 III. Is Jason still using an A7R3? Jason is still using an A7R3 and the A9. I love the A9. And I love the A7 III. Which camera system would you recommend, Jason? The R4 or the Sony? And any tips? What do you have? Whenever somebody asks me a camera system, the reply that I always say is, what do you have currently? Because if you don't currently have something, or if you do currently have something, then you should absolutely stick with that ecosystem. I used to tell people, ditch Nikon, ditch Canon, because Canon and Nikon were dragging their feet like Neanderthals to come to the mirrorless marketplace. Now that Canon and Nikon have woken up out of their huge slumber, hibernation, they got just their asses kicked. Now that they've finally woken up, now, if you already have Nikon or Canon and you've invested in lenses and lights and everything else, stick with that and build upon it. That's my recommendation. Hey, Jason, can you share your social security number with us? Exactly. Hey, oh yeah, you got mad trolls. Yeah, I've learned to be careful. Don't give people ammunition. EVF and on-camera flash does not work with scene exposure and viewfinder. What am I doing wrong? I answered that earlier. It does not work. It does not work. If I could get Sony to fix anything, it would probably be that. Now I'm very used to shooting it, but that is annoying as hell. It's annoying as hell. Any advice in how you develop working relationship with models and gaffers? Start reaching out to people. Do shoots, guys. Shoot like crazy. Shoot like crazy. And don't, just because it's COVID doesn't mean you can't shoot. Anyone who tells you that, they need to go jump off a cliff. Okay. So if you want to shoot, go shoot. You don't have to be 6 feet within somebody else. And it's so stupid anyways. It's so stupid. Don't get me started on this. It's so stupid because I'm not anti-COVID, but give me a break. We walk into Walmart. We go into grocery stores. We go everywhere. And y'all know you don't stay 6 feet away from everyone all the time. You don't. If you go through Taco Bell, so they hand you the food. They're 6 feet. They're about 2 feet from you. It's ridiculous. So in other words, if you want to go shoot, go shoot. But go shoot. You got to make those working relationships. And you got to find the people that work well with you and that work well with you, and then continue to foster that relationship. But also, the one big thing that I'll say is make sure to shoot with a lot of different people. That's something that I've done over the last 6 months, and it's really been a fantastic boon to my career. So if you give yourself those options, and that's what I would recommend. Jason, you're a great photographer. Thank you. Any advice in how you, Rick? They are, I actually trashed them. They were harmful to my eyes, and I regret ever taking them. Gracias por ser honesto y decir la verdad. You're welcome, my friend. You should mention Ansel Adams. Yeah, he's all right. Yeah, the range shoot was totally awesome. Thank you. How much did they charge you to use that range shoot studio? It's usually about $50 an hour. In past videos, you said you're going for cinematic lighting. What are some of your favorite movies directors for lighting? I love Tim Burton. I really love Tim Burton. I love the moods that he sets with his movies. Gosh, I love Steven Spielberg. I love a lot of the great ones. Coppola. They really do a lot of really cool stuff. So that's what I do. All styles, yo boy, what's up, baby love? Scott Foley says, what's up, Jason? Hope all's well with you, brother. Daddy Warbucks out. See you later, Daddy Warbucks. I love you. I noticed that as well. You're an amazing director. Thank you. Patience is very key as well, my friends. If you plan to visit Israel in the future after pandemic, you'll have lots of fans. Oh my gosh, Israel is totally on my list. Make it happen, Shadi. Make it happen, baby boy. Thank you for the recent bevy of videos. Enjoyed the inauguration vid, but the recent live videos were awesome. You're welcome. You guys, if you don't know what you're talking about, if you're watching this, I've been streaming live shoots, which is very different. And I'm going to be adding more technology. I'm looking around because, let me see here. I have a mic that's supposed to be for live streams. It's somewhere. Anyway, but I'm going to be adding a mic to the live stream so it can connect. So you guys can hear me as I'm walking around. So it'll be fun. My biggest problem is with the posing. I'll look up different poses I like, but I forget about them when I start shooting. Yeah, just slow down when you're shooting, Jason. Slow down. All of you out there, slow down when you're shooting. It'll make an enormous difference with your posing. Think about your shots. I can't tell you how many times, I'm not doing it with this piece of crap, but how many times I'm taking pictures of somebody and I stop. And if you shot with me, you will see this. Okay, I don't have my rings on right now. My rings are typically my little magic fingers, but I'll go like this. Now, you don't have to do the jazz hands thing. That's kind of a Jason thing. It's kind of a me being weird thing. But when I'm doing this, I'm thinking. And when I'm thinking, and what's going through my mind, and sometimes I'll actually say it, is I'll say, Jason, what are you trying to do right now? What are you trying to create? And I stop myself from shooting, because sometimes for me and for many of you out there, photography is like, it's like cocaine. It's like, I've never had cocaine, but I've watched people use cocaine, and it's crazy. And so when you are out there and you see people and you're shooting and you have a great model and it's a great background, and like the Rain Studio, Giselle's beautiful and I'm shooting her and she's got a great wardrobe on and great look, and the lighting's fantastic. Sometimes it's like, oh my gosh, you just can't stop taking pictures. But even in that moment, I've learned to slow down and say, Jason, what are you trying to create, man? What are you trying to create? Because if you just waste this opportunity, it's going to suck for me and it's going to suck for the models. It really sucks. So slow down. Posing with triangles, create space. You got to create space in between. I look like the Tin Man right now, but you got to create space. My hoodie's blocking it, but you got to create space. This is the triangle right here. 1, 2, 3 sides. You got to create space. Will you be offering any workshops or videos on your editing process? All of my editing is on. You guys can watch me edit live on Patreon. It is, you guys, you literally watch my screen as I'm editing, and you can ask me questions. It's all done via Zoom. I'm telling you, there's no better way. You can learn exactly everything and how I do it editing wise on my Patreon channel, which is patreon.com/Jason Lehner Photography. Hi, Jason. I'm shopping for a laptop for editing photography. Any recommendations? I would not buy Mac. I'm over Mac. I still have a MacBook Pro, but right now my office setup is dual monitor PC, and I'm over Mac. Mac pisses me off. Apple just in general pisses me off. Even though I have an iPhone and a MacBook Pro, I have all the stuff that artists are supposed to have. But you know, I hate Apple because they're bastards. They're rich, stupid bastards. I really hate Apple because they take away everything that the normal person needs because they're so arrogant. They take away auxiliary jacks on your phone so you can't plug stuff into it. They take away headphone ports. They take away memory card, USB ports. Do you know how many times my computer, my desktop, my MacBook Pro, my laptop has disconnected because of some error with these USB-C 3 cables, and it's disconnecting and I have a problem? Oh my gosh, I am so over Macs. So that's why I bought PCs for my office, and I'll be doing the same in the future for other stuff. Hi, Jason. My girl and I are having dinner watching you. Well, thank you, Michael, and your girl. I'm sure she's beautiful, and I'm sure you're very handsome. Kiyoshi Yamamoto says, hello, Jason. What's up, my love? When are you doing workshops in the Virginia area? I'm going to announce workshops as soon as Biden allows us to do anything with our lives. I live in communist California where Newsom locks down everything. Meanwhile, that bastard's eating food in a restaurant. I just can't believe these. I hate politicians. I hate them. Not Republican or Democrat. I hate politicians. So I can't wait until they let us live again. I hate them. Did I say that? clearly enough. So prophetic. I remember you being adamant years ago that mirrorless is the way of the future and DSLRs are dead. Yep, I was. And I'm telling you, traditional strobes are going to die too. And people can call me crazy, stupid, whatever. It's going to happen. Just like I told the world with mirrorless. And people laughed at me and made fun of me. That's fine. I was right. Doesn't mean I'm right about everything, but because I'm not. But when it comes to a few things, lighting and cameras, I have a good feel for it. On directing a model on a photo shoot, how to improve my communication skills. That's a really good point. And I'm telling you guys, when you come to the workshop, we have a whole section on how to communicate with people to get good results. I talk about inflection. I talk about intonation. I talk about the way in which you can drive the best results out of your subjects by how you interact with them. In brief, the Cliff Notes or the Spark Notes version of it is simple. You need to inject energy into your subject. If you lack energy, and if you don't articulate your words in a very clear, concise, cohesive manner, your subject's not going to feel that shoot. As an example, I was shooting Giselle. We referenced the rain shoot. I was shooting Giselle, and it was her first modeling shoot. And I said to her, I said, hey, hon, I said, I need you to feel the shoot. Feel it for me. And she'd kind of move around. I said, come on, feel your way into those ankles and not ankles, feel your way into those angles and into that. I said, I want your shoulders to feel that you're in this moment. And I could see when it clicked for her. And it was so neat because when it clicked for her, her posing went to a next level. And it was so great because I shot Giselle at the rain shoot. And then I did another shoot with her the following day. She was already better the next day. It was really cool. So a lot of the times, guys, it's about you guys helping them to feel that emotion that you're trying to draw out of them. And that's really what it boils down to with communication. Jason, will you post a video of the photos you took of the other night? Yes, I will. Yes, I will, my love. Got a lot of questions. I love you guys. This is cool. Oh my gosh, tons of questions. Jason, would love to see them. Sure. The only reason to learn is to go out. Yes, you got to go out and shoot. I only have money for one Sony lens. What should I get? Dude, that's a huge question. Depends on what you shoot, man. If I could only get anything, I'd get a Sony Zeiss 50 millimeter. Those Taco Bell drive-thrus are bad for your diet. I'm not going to talk about drive-thrus. Your boy's looking good. I'm trimming down, so I'm not doing the Taco Bell thing, but I'm just saying, I don't care where you go. You're still within less than 6 feet from people. Give me a break. Jason, which ecosystem would you choose today if you were starting off? Ooh, that's a really good question. Not Nikon. I would still choose Sony because Sony has the most built out, the most comprehensive mirrorless lineup, but that's a really great question. I'd still choose Sony, but Canon is close. Christina says, hi, Jason. What's up, girl? What's up, my friend? Ashley Harder. I love all the ladies on here. Ladies in the house. I'm glad I managed to meet you at the photography show in the UK in 2019. Have you tried the Canon R5, R6? What did you think? I have played with them a little bit, and I'll just call B&H and have them send me some, and I'll play with them more and give you guys a little rundown. Sounds like a fun thing to do. I can hear you great tonight, Jason, but when you do a live shoot, get a mic, you bastard. You just answered my question. Yes. I see those ring fingers going in the yep, exactly. They were going in that boxing shoot, my love. You got that right. New dance moves. I got tons of dance moves, baby. Just wait. This new hip, salsa king over here, bitch. What do you think of the Canon? Okay, I answered that. Is the Titan X1 works well with the Sony A7R III? Hells yeah. I love the Titan X1. Guys, by the way, if you haven't entered the Rhodolite competition, jasonlanier.com/competition. You guys can win a Titan X1. Please do yourself a favor and enter the contest. It costs you nothing to enter, and you could win a Titan X1 worth $6,000. Do it. I'm on a night shift in the warehouse. Would love to do photography as a main income. Just finishing up my break now. Would love to carry on watching all night. Well, I would love that too, my friend. How old are you? 11 years. Look young. I am 59 years old. I'm 59. Yeah, but that M1 Mac Jason leading the industry in speed. Exactly. I don't care. Give me an effing memory card slot. You arrogant bastards. God, I hate Apple. What's up, Lionel? What's up, baby boy? Yeah, I hate politicians. I hate them. They're just so corrupt pieces of crap. Hello, Jason. I have used different Sony cameras. Now I'm using an A9 and an A7 III, and I always have problems with my flash. Sometimes it fails between shoots. I'm using a Godox 8600. It's probably, and I could make a joke about Godox. It's probably not failing. What's probably happening is it's just not recycling. Either that or you're burning it out because of because Godox overheats. So give me a little bit more information. But yeah, Godox for that reason. But you know what? Pro Photo, and I use Pro Photo too, guys. Pro Photo is so overpriced and so overrated. And Pro Photo, they know that their battery sucks so bad that when you get a Pro Photo, they send you a kit to charge the battery in the car because they know it sucks. So I use the gear that I use because it helps me get my job done. That's the truth. And that's why I'll say whatever I feel about the other brands. What PC do you recommend for heavy editing programs? I have a gaming computer. I think the best thing to do is get a gaming computer. I think I have an Omen or something. I don't know. I can post it later if you guys really care. But where is this workshop? I don't have a workshop yet. But if you, as soon as these damn politicians open things up, I will be releasing tons of workshop information for all of you to spend some amazing time with all of you guys. We love you. Thank you. 17 to 70 video. Yes, Kiri, coming just for you. Kiri texts me like crazy. He sends me naked pictures. He sends me all sorts of stuff. Kiri is the reason why you and I and everyone else in the world has to have the image come up that says image blurred for your protection. That's Kiri. Kiri sends me some freaky stuff. Everything I said right now isn't true, but it was funny. In what ways do you find you are lazy? I'm not lazy at all. What is the oldest lens you currently own? Oh my gosh, probably the Canon 200 millimeter 1.8. If I have a direct friend connection with a model, is bypassing her talent agency kosher? Hell yeah. Modeling agencies suck. I hate modeling agencies too. You guys are getting a lot of really raw emotions tonight. Modeling agencies can kiss my everlasting, ever-loving, beautiful grits. I do not like modeling agencies. Modeling agencies are bastards too. They're like politicians, and I'm not just making this up. Modeling agencies, they prohibit models from working with freelance photographers. That's one. Two, modeling agencies, don't take my word for it, but I'm telling you the truth. Ask a model who's worked with one for a while. They don't pay the girls or the guys, but I work mostly with females. They don't pay the girls for usually 3 to 4 months after the project. 3 to 4 months. It's absurd. Modeling agencies suck. All right. I tested the flash with other camera brands and it's okay. With Sony, I have to use a mechanical shutter only, then the flash doesn't fail. Well, yeah, you have to use what you're probably doing is using an electronic shutter, which you cannot do except with the new steak sauce. Stop dogging Nikon. I'm not dogging Nikon. I'm just speaking the truth, baby boy. Jerry Palmer, I'm going to spank your ass, Lionel. Oh my gosh, Jason said he's going to spank somebody's ass. Well, Lionel and I are close. Hi, Jason. What's up, Jerry? If Giselle took a moment and looked at the set and felt the rain and then pictured a Broadway play and went into her own creativity, she would have gone farther, faster. Maybe show her a mirror? No. If you show a model a mirror, the only thing that they see is they're looking at their body, and if they have anything hanging out, if they have any rolls, and I'm not trying to be funny or a jerk right now. I'm being honest. And how do I know? Every time I show a model their image behind the camera, the first thing, the lighting can be perfect. Everything can be epic. But if they have one little tiny little ounce of flesh where it doesn't belong, they hate the shot. And that's the thing they'll say, oh, I look fat in that shot. Like, oh my gosh, if you look fat in that shot, what do I look like? I look like Roseanne Barr. Okay. So, I mean, I haven't made a Roseanne Barr joke in a long time, so it even made me laugh. Anyway, but no, I wouldn't show them a mirror because you'd never get the shoot done. They'd probably be taking selfies too. Hey, everyone. Jason is doing lives on YouTube and then post stills on his Instagram. You got to chase him down. That's right, baby boy. Or you're a baby girl. That's right, baby girl. What is the Rhodolite contest deadline? It is January 31st, my love. Hi, Jason. I think I bought all the Rhodolites because of all the deals. Good for you. Good for you. You entered your photo last night. Good job, Michael. I'm proud of you. We have the same birthday in December, bro. I'm just 4 years older than you. No, you're not, Rick. I'm a lot younger looking than you. You guys are funny. You say that I look 39. Well, thank you. I'm actually 50. What did I say earlier? 59. I'm probably 63 by this point. If you are, Pro Photo is way overpriced. Yes, it is. Gerald, my friend, says if you are too close between your Godox and the trigger, it might not fire. Now you can set the trigger, yes. But again, I think we established that it's the electronic shutter is the problem. Rumors say the next MacBook Pro version revision will have an SD card slot and no touch bar. Oh, wonderful. Whatever. Thanks for going backwards, Apple. I hate them. I saw a video where the politician up here, he was called out after breaking the rule, stated all the guidelines don't apply to anyone in government. Oh my gosh. Hate them. Hate them. Hate them. Hate them. I'm just going to leave it at that. I think it's time for you to come back to South Florida. I miss you, bro. Yeah, I got to come back to John to kick your butt because John challenged me to a shootout, which is, in all humility, John, you're going to just going to get wrecked. But no, it'd be fun, man. I miss you too. 1.2 primes versus fast zooms, which to invest in? Primes. I think I'm a prime lens guy only now. Not sure if anyone else feels the same. I'm prime lens except for pretty much the 70 to 200 2.8. But you do understand that's necessary for things to be shut down to stop the second wave. I'm speaking as someone who's currently going through COVID-19 protocol. Lionel, nobody has a freaking clue. That's the truth. Nobody has a clue with COVID, and they haven't known for a year. And you know I love you. And you and I have sat down. And Lionel are the salt and pepper of the world. I'm white. He's black. We're brothers. It's just the truth. But, man, it is... I'm so over these people who have no clue what they're talking about. First, no masks, then single masks. Now Fauci, he's an idiot. Fauci wants us to wear double masks. I mean, are you for reals? I can't anymore. 59 years old. I'm not spanking shite. I'll spank you, baby. 59 years old. Come on, man. Really look like 35 to 40. Wow. I hope I'll be like you when I'm 59. You guys are awesome. Hi, how do you check your pictures after editing them? Because all monitors are different. Some of them glossy, some are not anti-glare. The best advice I can give you guys on checking your pictures when you're editing is don't edit in the dark. Edit with moderate lighting, ambient lighting. That will be the best thing for your editing workspace is make sure to not edit in the dark or in the very bright. If you want to really have a very realistic view on your images, edit in a moderately lit, not overly lit, but a moderately lit ambient environment. So even when I'm flying on a plane, I'm that annoying guy because I'm sitting in my seat, and if the lights are turned off in the plane and I'm editing, I'll turn on the headlamp above because I need that ambient light on the computer to be able to make sure that I don't make my images, I don't expose them wrong or incorrectly. Love your honesty. You tell it like it is. Love you, Jason. Thank you. Yes, I do. I hate all these. There's so many frauds out there in our industry, in the world, politics. There's so many frauds. Do you think Sony's flashes are good? Waste of money. I wouldn't buy a flash from a Nikon, Canon, or Sony to save my life. Those days are long gone. You talk about ripoffs. They would charge you $500-$600 just for a speed light, and now you can get a Godox 8600 for $200 or a Neo 2 for $200. Ripoff. I wouldn't buy a single one, and don't talk to me about TTL, which is totally terrible light. I wouldn't do any of that. Adios. Next. Looking for a continuous outdoor battery powered light for my shoots in the 300. I try to get a Rhodolite EOS. Rick Ryle, you're 63. I believe that. You are 63, Rick, and I love you. You know I do. Can you ask Sony to give you an extra A1 sample for water rain sealing test? Yeah, I know. Put the steak sauce in the rain, see what happens. New Jerk. That's funny. Probably a Freudian slip thanks to Cuomo. New York or New Jersey? 5-minute shoots, bring them back. Yeah, those are fun. Especially now that I'm getting my hip back in shape. I can actually do that. Hey, Jason, would love to stay on with you, but it's almost midnight. Have a good night, my friend. Eric Rosa, what do you think of the new Sony 35mm G Master? Don't care. I already have the Sony Zeiss 35 millimeter. It's more than enough. I don't need another 35. I don't care. Exposed to the left or exposed to the right. Depends on if you, I was going to make a political joke. I'll leave that alone. COVID deniers always know everything. I'm not denying COVID at all. I've known many people who have COVID. I've known people who have passed away from COVID. It's not about denying COVID, but where are we at? Just riddle me that, Batman. The experts, Fauci, the man who is in charge of all of this, has gotten us where? Where? Crickets. Crickets. The worst thing that we can do as the minions who answer and have to obey the edicts of the people up in power, the worst thing that we can do is stop asking the question why and to just be blindly obedient. Blind obedience gets people in trouble every time. So asking, never feeling afraid to ask, hey, why are we doing this? And most importantly, is this working? And if it's not, we shouldn't be doing it. And just a simple answer of, oh, well, it would be worse if. How do you know it would be worse if? You have no clue. In the United States of America, we have about 25 states are Republican, 25 states that are Democrat. Look at the infection rates, and they handle the COVID virus very differently. So I'm not saying one's better than the other. I'm just saying the United States is such a sample ground for a body of land and different geographical regions handling COVID very differently from one another. So you tell me, guys, you tell me. All I'm saying is we as people need to never, ever stop asking why and is this working? And if it's not working, we need to change course. How do you make sure that your monitor and viewfinder show you the proper very happy Trump is gone. He was a bad role model. If that's what fits your boat, then I'm happy for you. Get an IPS screen with a solid gamut RGB calibrated screen. There's laptops now with IPC, IPS, whatever, built-in screens. That's perfect. Oh, other than yourself, most talented YouTube photographer. I don't know of one. Love you too, you old fart. Thank you, Rick. Hey, I saw your A7R2 video and I wanted to ask if you still recommend it. And guys, everybody on YouTube that I know is just a reviewer, and that's just the truth. So I don't know how else to say it. Thanks for your great offers, Rhodolite. You were the best. You're welcome. Thank you. You were the best. Thank you. Everyone is trying. This is new for all things. No, we're past the new part. I don't want to hear that comment either. We've done this for a year. I don't want to hear about it being new. You talk to me about COVID. You talk to me about it being new. 2 weeks in, 3 weeks in, 2 months in, 3 months in. We're freaking a year in. I'm over being everything is new. Fauci works for I'm also not gonna rip on Democrats or Republicans. Fauci has already said that masks don't work. He is now saying, yeah, I can't stand the people who just pretend that they know, but they don't. That's my problem. We miss you here in Clarksburg. I do too. It's about controlling the people. Fauci works. Now they want us to take the Pfizer vaccine, 2 mils, and now they're talking about a 3rd mil. What's happening here? I missed 2019. No doubt. You're on fire today, my friend. Spot on about Mac, COVID, and politicians. I'm not trying to be on fire. I'm not trying to be in water. I'm just trying to tell you guys how I really feel. And the honest truth is that, and I mean this in all sincerity, you guys know, if you've watched my recent video on the inauguration, if you watch that video, Hawaii has a relatively low COVID case count per capita, but you can't compare them against islands. Exactly. It's very, when people look at all these different things, and I'm not trying to go political on this. I'm really not. I'm just saying, when you look at all these different things, all I'm telling you out there is, if you voted for Biden or if you voted for Trump, I don't care. And I will love you either way. And I mean that. And I know people who have voted for Biden and people who have voted for Trump, and there's good people on both sides of the aisle. And I mean that. And I love people on both sides of the aisle. But if you're looking at what we're doing in our country, just don't blindly follow anyone. Don't blindly follow a conservative. Don't blindly follow a liberal. Follow people who get results. It's that simple. Period. If they couldn't get things right in 2020, why trust them for 2021? Guys, if you hired any of these morons to fix your house and a year later, nothing was better. Hello? When are you coming to San Francisco? I'd like to take a class. I'm actually coming to San Francisco in 2 days. Now that I think about it, I'll be in San Francisco in 2 days to do a one-on-one. It's going to be awesome. As someone who might be looking for a Sony camera, the only problem I have with them is the sheer number of them that have come out. What would be a good middle-of-the-road camera? I just get a Sony A7 III. That's what I get. We the people really do have the power. When people know this without doubt, this will end. It's that simple, which isn't simple. Yeah, well, unfortunately, I used to believe that, but we the people don't exercise our rights other than to not do the right things. By the way, the only right is right. I don't know. I'm not going to talk about left or right. I love people on both sides. If I remember correctly, you issued a challenge and I was the only one brave enough to answer, LOL, but I could be wrong. No, I had a lot of people say they would love to do a challenge with me. And if that's something that we can do, I'll do it. Absolutely. My choice for president was a write-in, none of the above. Yeah. And guys, look, I think, and here's the other thing too, that we miss in our politicians miss. The politicians are so stupid because they don't work with one another. And none of us, or very few of us, I'm not, none of us are all liberal or are all conservative based on our nature and our nurture and our upbringing and environment and life and everything else and where we were born and who we were born with and our family dynamics and everything else. All of us are going to feel differently about different topics. We're not just one monolithic group that believes everything every Democrat says or everything every Republican says. We have different beliefs and so on and so forth. And so it would be nice for us to think. I want Americans and people around the world to unite against politicians. That's what I want. Common sense, exactly. With the Sony A1, the steak sauce, how many pictures does it take to fill 160 by? I have no idea. I have no idea how many. I'm not a math major and I have no clue, but it'll be fun. Lex Adams, see you later, my man. I love you. Did you miss my comments on the new Sony A1? Yes, you did. If I became a politician, I would, in all candor, if I became a politician, I wouldn't last very long because I wouldn't listen to special interest groups because they're slime bags, and I wouldn't listen to there's so many. You have to compromise your soul to be a politician, and that's sad. You missed my thoughts on A1. Yep, that's what I started off with. So I spoke a lot about the steak sauce. It was good stuff. I told you guys I was starting at 6 o'clock. I'm not talking about the angry photographer. That's toxic. It's a waste of my life. Not ever talking about that person again. Toxic. Never talking about that person again. The Sony A1 is $10,000 out there. Wow, that's pricey. That's up there. Yep. Yeah. The steak sauce is pretty ridiculous. So I'm not doing a workshop in San Francisco. I'm actually going to be doing a one-on-one session. That's all that I'm going to be doing. But yeah, guys, Australia. That's another one that's tough. But guys, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate you guys. I really do. Tonight's been a really fun live stream. And I'd like to see you shoot with another popular YouTuber. It's got to be better than the one with Irina Rudnick. She's not worth her whole name. Shout out. Don't get me wrong. Her half-naked girl was beautiful. Yeah, I know. I don't know if I want to do that again. I'm just steering clear of the things that people use against me. And that's what I'm doing. So we'll see. And to be honest with you, most people can't handle the raw and real way that I am. That's just the truth. So I love you guys. Until next time, keep shooting, never give up on your dreams. Don't forget to watch those live streams when we come out. And guys, we're going to be coming out with a lot of workshops as soon as all this ends. And you guys can check out all of the editing and so on and so forth and get critiques on your photos on my Patreon channel, patreon.com/Jason Lanier Photography. So Until next time, guys, keep shooting, never give up on your dreams. Find our gear that works for you. And remember, you only have one chance to get it right. I love you guys. Bye.